think it's absolutely extraordinary that any right-minded thinking parent should believe that it would have been an alternative to bring those children down here to London in all that hoo-ha.
For nearly 3 decades, the world believed that every secret of Princess Diana had already been uncovered. But now, a shocking discovery has emerged. A hidden letter written by Diana to Princess Anne, tucked away and forgotten for 27 years. Found during a recent renovation at one of the royal residences, this letter could completely change the way we understand Diana's final years. The letter, reportedly dated just months before Diana's tragic death in 1997, was unearthed by a former royal staff member who stumbled upon it while restoring an old piece of furniture. What's even more mysterious is that the letter appears to have been deliberately concealed, raising the question, who hid it and why? Did Diana leave it behind intentionally, hoping it would one day be found? Or did someone in the royal family try to keep it buried? Diana's relationship with Princess Anne has always been one of speculation and tension, making this letter all the more intriguing. The two princesses were never known to be particularly close, and Anne was often seen as cold and dismissive toward Diana. So, why did Diana write to her? And more importantly, what did she say that was so important that it needed to be hidden? Reports suggest that the contents of the letter are deeply personal, revealing Diana's innermost fears, frustrations, and perhaps even warnings about her future. Some believe the letter might contain evidence of Diana's suspicions that she was in danger, echoing her infamous note to Paul Burrell, where she predicted that someone was planning an accident involving her car brakes. If this letter contains similar statements, it could reignite the controversy surrounding her death in Paris. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the royal family and the public alike. Could this letter be the missing piece in Diana's tragic puzzle? Why was it hidden for so long? And most importantly, what secrets did Diana entrust to Princess Anne in what could have been one of her final written words? To fully understand the significance of this discovery, we must first explore the complex and often strained relationship between Princess Diana and Princess Anne. Diana and Anne. A complicated relationship. Diana and Anne may have both been royal princesses, but they couldn't have been more different. While Diana was known for her warmth, charisma, and deep emotional connection with the public, Anne was the opposite: reserved, duty-driven, and fiercely private. These clashing personalities set the stage for decades of tension and misunderstanding between the two women. From the very beginning, Anne reportedly never warmed up to Diana. She saw her as a young, inexperienced girl who was unprepared for royal life. Unlike Diana, who married into the royal family at just 19 years old, Anne had been raised within the monarchy and had already dedicated her life to duty. She believed that Diana's emotional approach to royal duties, crying during speeches, hugging strangers, and openly discussing her struggles, was improper for a future queen. Diana, on the other hand, felt unaccepted and judged by Anne. She once confided in friends that Anne made no effort to welcome her when she first joined the royal family. Instead, Anne reportedly dismissed Diana as a silly girl who was more interested in fame than responsibility. This lack of support only deepened Diana's loneliness as she struggled to navigate the pressures of being married to Prince Charles. However, beneath the cold surface, there may have been a hidden attempt at reconciliation, and that's where this letter becomes crucial. Did Diana see an opportunity to mend their relationship? Or was she desperately reaching out for help, hoping that Anne, one of the strongest and most independent royals, could intervene in the chaos of her life? The hidden letter now forces us to rethink everything we assumed about their relationship. Was their tension truly one-sided, or was Anne simply following royal tradition, choosing duty over personal feelings? Could Diana have written this letter as a final plea for support, only to be ignored? Now, the biggest question remains, what exactly did Diana say in this letter, and why has its content shaken the royal family to its core? What did the letter say? The content that shook the royals. When the existence of Diana's hidden letter was first revealed, speculation immediately ran wild. What could possibly be so shocking that it had to be kept secret for nearly 3 decades? The answer lies in Diana's deeply personal words, which reveal a heartbreaking and raw look into her final years. The letter is said to contain Diana's most vulnerable confessions, detailing her emotional turmoil, fears, and frustrations about life inside the royal family. Among the most explosive revelations is her anguish over Prince Charles's infidelity. Diana allegedly describes in painful detail how Charles's long-standing affair with Camilla Parker Bowles destroyed her marriage, leaving her feeling betrayed, humiliated, and utterly alone. Diana also questions Charles's ability to be king, something that has long been speculated but never directly confirmed in her private letters. Did she believe that his actions had permanently damaged the monarchy? Was she warning Anne, the Queen's only daughter, that Charles was unfit to rule? If so, this letter could be one of the most damaging pieces of evidence ever linked to the future King of England. Even more disturbing is Diana's apparent fear for her own safety. Some reports suggest that she hinted at being watched, manipulated, and possibly even targeted. This aligns with her previous claims that she feared for her life in the months leading up to her tragic accident in Paris. If Diana had genuine concerns about her well-being, why wasn't anything done? More importantly, did Princess Anne respond? The impact of this letter on the royal family cannot be overstated. Not only does it reignite old controversies, but it also raises serious questions about what the monarchy knew and whether they deliberately ignored Diana's suffering. If Anne received this letter and chose to remain silent, it could permanently alter the public's perception of her role in Diana's story. But the most chilling part of this revelation isn't just Diana's heartbreak, it's her apparent ability to predict her own fate. Could this letter hold clues about the accident that took her life? Diana's fears for her safety. Did she predict her own fate? Princess Diana had long expressed concerns that she was being watched, manipulated, and possibly in danger. Now, with the discovery of her hidden letter to Princess Anne, those fears seem more real than ever. In the letter, Diana allegedly writes about feeling trapped, powerless, and deeply uneasy about her future. She describes an unshakable sense that something terrible was looming, echoing the ominous warning she once gave her butler, Paul Burrell, about a planned accident involving her car brakes. For years, conspiracy theories surrounding Diana's tragic 1997 car crash in Paris have refused to fade. Many believe her death was not an accident, but something far more sinister. Now, if this letter truly contains another warning about her safety, it raises disturbing questions. Did Diana know she was in danger? Was she trying to get someone within the royal family to help her? And if so, why didn't anyone listen? The fact that this letter remained hidden for 27 years only fuels suspicions. Who kept it a secret? If Diana's fears were known within the royal circle, was her death avoidable? The contents of this letter could be the strongest evidence yet that Diana was silenced before she could expose the truth. But what was the real cause of Diana's suffering? To truly understand her pain, we must revisit the betrayal that shattered her world, Prince Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. The Three of Us in This Marriage confession, how Charles and Camilla shattered Diana's world. Princess Diana's 1995 BBC interview remains one of the most explosive moments in royal history. It was there that she publicly exposed the biggest scandal in the monarchy, admitting, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This single statement confirmed what had been whispered for years. Prince Charles was never truly hers. Now, her hidden letter to Princess Anne reveals even deeper pain and resentment over the betrayal. Sources suggest Diana wrote candidly about how Charles and Camilla's affair made her feel worthless, unwanted, and deeply depressed. She allegedly questioned whether the monarchy had ever truly accepted her, or if she had simply been a means to produce an heir. Diana reportedly expressed frustration that no one within the royal family, not even Anne, spoke up to support her. Did she believe Anne, as Charles's only sister, could have intervened? Or was this letter simply an outlet for her heartbreak, knowing that nothing would ever change? This revelation paints a darker picture of Diana's final years, as she struggled not just against Charles and Camilla, but against an entire system that refused to protect her. The letter serves as a powerful reminder of Diana's suffering, but it also begs the question, what did Anne do with this letter? If Diana was reaching out for support, how did Anne respond? Did she stand by her sister-in-law, or did she maintain the royal family's unbreakable silence? Anne's response, the royal silence that broke Diana's heart. Princess Anne has always been known for her stoic, no-nonsense attitude, prioritizing duty over personal emotion. But when Diana reached out to her in one of her darkest moments, what did Anne do? According to sources, Anne remained silent, refusing to get involved in Diana's personal struggles. It's believed that Anne never fully accepted Diana into the royal fold, seeing her as too emotional and dramatic. She reportedly believed that royal life required discipline and restraint, two qualities she felt Diana lacked. So when confronted with Diana's painful confessions in the letter, Anne allegedly chose not to respond, a decision that may have devastated Diana even further. Diana had always felt isolated within the royal family, but Anne's rejection could have been the final confirmation that she was truly alone. If Anne had stood by her, could Diana's fate have been different? Could she have found an ally instead of more cold indifference? This revelation puts Anne's role in Diana's suffering under a new lens. For decades, she has been seen as a loyal enforcer of royal traditions. But now, her silence may come across as cruel and heartless. Did Anne fail Diana when she needed her most? Or was she simply following the strict rules of the monarchy? If Anne stayed silent, what about the Queen? Did Elizabeth II ever see this letter? And if so, why didn't she intervene? The Queen's role. Did Elizabeth II know about this letter? Queen Elizabeth II was often described as a calm, measured monarch. But when it came to Princess Diana's suffering, her silence was deafening. Despite knowing about Charles's long-standing affair with Camilla, the Queen reportedly never took action to protect Diana. This raises an even bigger question. Did she ever see this letter? If Diana truly wrote about Charles's infidelity, her fears for her safety, and her deteriorating mental health, one would assume the Queen should have been made aware. However, royal experts believe that if the letter was hidden, it may have been deliberately kept from her to avoid further controversy. Was this a case of the royal staff burying damaging information? Or did the Queen choose to ignore it to preserve the monarchy's image? It's no secret that Diana was seen as a threat to the royal institution. Her unfiltered honesty and public appeal made her larger than the monarchy itself, something that could have destabilized the entire royal system. Could this be why the letter was concealed for so long? Was it deemed too dangerous for the Queen to acknowledge? The Queen's inaction in Diana's struggles has always been a subject of public criticism. If it turns out that she knew about the letter and still did nothing, it could permanently damage her legacy. The monarchy has always relied on tradition and control, but in Diana's case, those very traditions may have led to her suffering being ignored. But what happened next would forever change the royal family. The tensions exposed in Diana's letter ultimately led to one of the biggest royal divorces in history. A divorce that left Diana stripped of her title, power, and security. The divorce that shook the crown, how Diana was forced out. The fallout from Diana's struggles, Charles's affair, and the royal family's silence reached its breaking point in 1996, when Diana and Charles finalized their divorce. It was a historic moment, one that marked Diana's official removal from the royal fold. But what many don't realize is that this divorce was not entirely her choice. For years, Diana had fought to maintain her place within the monarchy, not because she wanted power, but because she wanted to continue her charitable work and stay close to Prince William and Prince Harry. However, after her shocking 1995 BBC Panorama interview, where she openly spoke about Charles's infidelity and her own emotional struggles, the royal family had had enough. The Queen reportedly sent Diana a letter urging her to agree to a divorce, seeing no other way to preserve the monarchy's stability. But the terms of the divorce were devastating. Diana was stripped of her title, meaning she could no longer be referred to as Her Royal Highness. This may seem like a small detail, but in royal circles, it meant she was officially considered an outsider. She also lost her security protection, something that would prove to be a fatal decision just a year later. This period was one of Diana's lowest points, and her hidden letter to Anne may have been written during this time as a final plea for help. If Anne had stood by her, could the outcome have been different? Could Diana have retained her title and security, preventing the tragic events that followed? But Diana's letter wasn't the only evidence of her suffering. She had also kept secret diaries, detailing everything she went through. Could these diaries contain even more revelations about her final days? The letter's connection to Diana's secret diaries. While the newly discovered letter to Princess Anne is causing waves, it is not the only piece of evidence Diana left behind. For years, she kept private diaries, documenting her mental health struggles, her deteriorating marriage, and her fears for the future. These diaries have long been rumored to contain explosive truths about what was really happening behind palace walls. Diana's writings were her only escape, a way to process the pain of being isolated and unheard. Many believe these diaries may have contained even more direct accusations against Charles and the royal institution. Some sources claim that she wrote about Charles's frustration with her popularity, his alleged desire to silence her, and even his plans for the future with Camilla. One of the most chilling theories is that Diana may have written about feeling unsafe, that she knew she was being watched and that her life was at risk. If the letter to Anne hinted at this fear, how much more was recorded in her private writings? Some believe that certain pages of Diana's diaries have been hidden or destroyed to protect the monarchy's reputation. Could this be why her letter to Anne was also concealed? Was it part of a larger effort to erase the truth Diana wanted the world to know? But Diana's fears weren't just about her personal suffering. She also knew that the relentless media attention on her life was a growing threat, one that could ultimately lead to her tragic and mysterious death. The paparazzi and Diana's death, a cover-up or tragic fate. On August 31st, 1997, the world was shaken by the news of Princess Diana's tragic death in a Paris car crash. The official explanation? A drunk driver, high-speed paparazzi chases, and a tragic accident. But from the very beginning, many questioned whether there was more to the story. The royal family's unusually cold response to Diana's death only fueled suspicions. While the world was mourning, the palace remained silent for days, refusing to acknowledge the immense public grief. Some found this behavior strange and unnatural, leading to conspiracy theories that Diana's death was no accident. Now, with the discovery of her hidden letter to Anne, those theories have gained new life. If Diana had indeed expressed fears for her safety, then her death could no longer be dismissed as a tragic coincidence. What if she was right? What if she was eliminated because she knew too much? The letter may provide crucial evidence that Diana felt threatened and targeted, a claim that could reignite calls for a new investigation into her death. The public has never stopped demanding justice for Diana. And now, with this new revelation, the pressure for answers is stronger than ever. The public outrage. Why people still demand answers. From the moment Diana's death was announced, the public refused to accept the official explanation. She wasn't just a princess, she was the people's princess, someone who connected with millions in a way no royal had before. The discovery of this hidden letter has now reignited public outrage, with people demanding the full truth about what happened to Diana. Many believe the royal family failed her, that they left her vulnerable and unprotected, knowing she was in danger. Others point to the powerful institutions that benefited from keeping Diana's voice silenced. If this letter reveals new details about her fears, her enemies, or the dangers she faced, it could change everything we thought we knew about her life and death. The pressure is now on the monarchy. Will they acknowledge this letter and its significance? Or will it be buried like so many other pieces of Diana's truth? But this letter doesn't just put pressure on the Queen, it also brings new scrutiny to Princess Anne and her role in Diana's tragic story. Princess Anne's reputation on the line. Why didn't she speak out? For decades, Princess Anne has been known as the most dedicated, no-nonsense royal, someone who values duty above all else. But now, with the discovery of Diana's hidden letter, her reputation is under intense scrutiny. Did she ignore Diana's cry for help? Or was she silenced by royal protocol? Anne has always been seen as a loyal enforcer of tradition, a royal who never sought the spotlight. Unlike Diana, who openly shared her struggles, Anne kept her emotions private and never engaged in public drama. She was known to be distant toward Diana, reportedly seeing her as too emotional and attention-seeking. But if this letter was a desperate plea for support, should Anne have done more to help? Some believe that Anne simply followed the royal family's unwritten rule: never interfere in another royal's personal affairs. But if that's the case, then her silence may have contributed to Diana's suffering. This letter challenges everything we thought we knew about Anne's role in Diana's story. If Anne had spoken out, could she have helped change Diana's fate? Now, royal watchers are re-evaluating Anne's legacy. Was she just following tradition, or did she actively choose to ignore a woman who needed her? But Diana's words don't just put Anne in the spotlight. They could also have a major impact on her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. The letter's impact on William and Harry. A mother's final words? For Prince William and Prince Harry, their mother's legacy is everything. They have spent their lives protecting her memory, speaking out about her struggles, and fighting against the forces that they believe wronged her. Now, this hidden letter could bring a new wave of revelations that might change their relationship with the monarchy forever. Harry, in particular, has already distanced himself from the royal family, accusing them of ignoring Diana's pain and contributing to her suffering. In his memoir, Spare, he claimed that the royals never protected her. So what happens if this letter proves him right? Could it lead to Harry and Meghan speaking out again? Could it reopen old wounds between him and William? For William, who remains loyal to the crown, this letter puts him in a difficult position. If it reveals new truths about his father, King Charles, or Queen Camilla, how will he respond? Will he demand the palace acknowledge it? Or will he try to move forward for the sake of the monarchy? No matter what happens, this letter could change how William and Harry see their mother's final years and their own roles in shaping her legacy. With so much at stake, all eyes are now on Buckingham Palace. Will they acknowledge this letter's existence? Or will they try to bury it like so many other royal secrets? What happens next? Will the palace acknowledge this letter? Now that Princess Diana's secret letter has been uncovered, the biggest question remains: how will the royal family respond? Will they confirm its authenticity, or will they try to silence the story before it spreads further? So far, Buckingham Palace has remained silent, just as they did when Diana first spoke out about her struggles. But with public interest growing, ignoring this letter may no longer be an option. If confirmed, it could force the monarchy to address difficult questions about Diana's treatment, her safety, and the role that key royals played in her suffering. Could this lead to more revelations about Diana's final days? If this letter survived nearly 3 decades, what other hidden documents or recordings might still be out there? This letter has the power to reshape history, but only if the truth comes to light. The royal family must now decide: will they finally acknowledge Diana's pain, or will they let the world keep searching for answers? Whether the palace admits it or not, one thing is certain: Diana's words still have the power to shake the monarchy to its core. The final verdict: the letter that could change history. Even after 27 years, Princess Diana's voice refuses to be silenced. This newly discovered letter adds one more piece to the puzzle of her tragic life and mysterious death. It confirms what many have long suspected: that Diana knew she was in danger, that she felt betrayed by the royal family, and that she tried to reach out for help but was ignored. But this letter is more than just another royal revelation. It is a symbol of Diana's resilience, her fearless honesty, and the pain she endured behind palace walls. It raises critical questions about the role of Princess Anne, the Queen, and even Charles himself. Did they know more than they admitted? Could they have protected her? For the public, this letter is another reason to demand answers. The world has never stopped mourning Diana, and now, with new evidence coming to light, people are once again questioning the official narratives. If this letter is real, what else is the royal family hiding? One thing is clear: Diana's legacy will never be erased. Whether the palace acknowledges this letter or not, her story will continue to inspire, provoke, and challenge the monarchy for generations to come. The truth about Diana may still be unfolding,